7:30. 7:30.
Get with them.
7:30.
We'll begin the meeting with pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. We just determined, at this point I would be asking for a motion to approve the village board meetings from the last meeting, but we just found out that we don't have them to look at. So could I get a motion tabling that till the next meeting?
Motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to public comments. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to address the board? If you would come forward, give us your name and your address.
Mary Ann Williams, Greater Baldwinsville Chamber of Commerce. First, I want to say thank you to Chief Fluffencheck for hosting us for Coffee Talk. I don't think I've ever seen people have that much fun. Well, okay, let me preface that by saying I've not witnessed people in police stations before, but I certainly don't think they had that much fun.
Generally not.
I'm looking at Sydney Clark. Yes. So thank you. I mean, there was a lot of good information that was shared, but people also had a really good time. So thank you.
You're very well.
Just a reminder, Taste of Beeville is this Saturday, September 21st on Paper Mill Island, noon to 10 p.m. Weather's looking good, people. Come on out. We have a great slate of bands, great slate of vendors. Thank you to all the different departments in the village that have made this possible. Thank you to trustees Collins and Frylu and their wives for coming out and helping us. It's going to be a good day. Thanks.
Mary Ann, can you mention the admission?
$2 whole
Thank you.
if you're the age of 13 and up. And there will be children's, we're calling it the Kids Zone from 12 to 6. Bubbles, hula hoops, temporary tattoos, those are all free. There will be a slight charge for balloons and face painting.
Thank you.
Good evening. Dan O'Hara, 56 Edgewood Drive, Baldwinsville, New York. A couple of quick things. First, I just want to thank all of you. I didn't get a chance last week or 2 weeks ago when I was here. I appreciate the fact that all of you are engaged in the political process. I think it's important to be involved in the community. I appreciate the fact that you're in the arena, and oftentimes people can take shots at people for right, wrong, or indifferent reasons. And I appreciate the fact that you folks are sitting up there and you're willing to listen to people's comments and willing to listen and react to them. So thank you for that. The second thing is I mentioned that we were going to do a slight cleanup around the post office and a couple of other areas, that we were going to do it Saturday at 9:30. We're going to change that and do it Sunday at 9:30 because the post office, the workers, is pretty active back there on a Saturday morning. So when I talked to the postmistress, she was in agreement that it would be better to do it Sunday morning. And I invite each and every one of you to come down for an hour and just help. It won't take probably an hour and a half to do what we want to do. So any help would be very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Sally, we haven't heard from you in a while.
I was reminded today, as I was walking up Oswego Street, that Angry Garlic there's a zoning law that says they can have outside eating if it's 5 feet from their little bar, their little tape, to the sidewalk. And technically, that is true. However, if you are not very mobile, if you have any kind of walking device, if you have a stroller, there are signs and flower pots and, I don't know, some sort of transformer thing that cut into that. And you have to go single file in the direction to get by. And my understanding is it should be, I mean, the codes officer said it should be 5 feet of unencumbered space, but when he goes to tell them about, because they also keep pushing the barrier closer and closer to the street, and putting a sign out closer and closer to the street. And he says when he goes to enforce it, they say, but it's 5 feet from the barrier to the sidewalk, because the wording doesn't say it's 5 unencumbered feet. And there's, like I said, there's all these barriers. If you go there when they have their tables out, imagine you're in a wheelchair, or you got crutches, or you're pushing a stroller. You won't be able to get through. And then those people either have to turn around and go up the block or down the block to cross the street, and that's not right. So I'm asking that it be amended to be 5 unencumbered feet.
We'll take it into consideration.
I spoke to the zoning board and they said it's a village board thing.
We will take it into consideration.
Okay.
But know that you will wipe out sidewalk dining for not just that business, but several in the community.
But
So that's a consequence, so we have to weigh.
But it is a public space, and we're supposed to be a walkable, accessible village, and it is not.
We will take it into consideration. I know Eric Reigel mentioned that very thing 2 weeks ago. So I don't know if you talked to Eric or...
I mentioned it, that, you know, I found it ironic that the 3 places that seem to have things out also have encumbrances that can't be moved. I mean, they're street signs, but the sidewalk dining is new from 2020. You know, it wasn't something that was around before. And it was, you know, during a time when there had to be a certain amount of distance. So those times, people aren't, in general, I'm always masking, but in general, people aren't masking, people aren't distancing. So should that still be extended?
So, Sally, are you talking about, like, fixed signs that are
Yes.
really encumbered? Okay, so they're, things
Well, they
that
have,
the
they have a
village
portable
has.
sign.
Oh, you're talking about their signs.
They have a sign that they put, like, here's the barrier, everything's supposed to be behind the barrier, and they're putting the sign.
Okay. So you're not talking about actual street signs, things that are, affixed in the concrete as encumbrances?
Those are the encumbrances.
That the state put their...
Okay,
their
the state,
retail
okay,
outside.
so, yeah, so that's...
So I'm just
So
saying.
that's a tricky
People-
question.
It is, but,
Yeah.
should people
We can
who
take
have
that flop.
wheelchairs, crutches, knee scooters, strollers, have to cross the street to get past that particular bit of sidewalk?
Yeah.
There's a real
Barriers are also movable, so I would hope that the staff, if they saw
They don't.
someone coming.
They don't, I had to wait for people to come out so I could go in.
Who measured it?
What?
Who measured what they did have?
I guess they have a tape measure,
Who?
the owners that put out the tables.
Okay, so they know the role.
Yeah,
So
but they
I'm
also
just wondering,
say,
I'm wondering who's determining that it's less than 5 feet to the encumbrances? Because I've walked through there and never had a problem. If I did have a problem, I wouldn't have a problem waiting for somebody to walk the 10 feet by the seating area so I can walk the 10 feet this way.
right,
We've had chowder cook-offs, we've had Margarita Fest, we've had Au Chocolat, we've had all of these events where there's hundreds of people in the village where I've never seen it to be a problem.
but if there's someone who is in a wheelchair
There still should be plenty of room.
and there is not,
Then I just want to know who's determining whether it's less than 5 feet.
well, it's technically 5 feet from the barrier to the street. The problem is there are signs that are immovable.
I understand that, but I'm saying, Who physically went out with a tape measure and went from their barrier to the first encumbrance and determined it was less than 5 feet? I mean, if that would be the first exercise that somebody should do.
No.
Because then we know if it's an issue or not. 'Cause
Yeah,
I would agree with
it
you.
does look to be 5 feet from the barrier to the sidewalk. The problem is it's not an unencumbered 5 feet.
Again, I say, it depends on who's taking the measurement. If we don't know what the actual measurement is,
Okay.
we don't know if we have an issue. So, I mean, I have no problem. I carry tape measure in my car.
Okay.
I'll go do it myself. But if it's more than 5 feet, I don't see that it's an issue, and I'm just speaking for myself.
Well, it's like I had to use an e-scooter, and
Still should be plenty of room.
it was really hard navigating through the barrier on the corner of 31, the little bar, kitty, at the Four Corners.
BG one.
Yeah. It was really, I had to get off an e-scooter and kind of angle it through. I'm just saying, we should be inclusive with people who are differently able, people who have strollers. But it's up to you.
We can definitely look at it.
Yep. Thanks, Al.
Yeah, that may also be in the Four Corners overlay.
I'm not speaking, I'm just gonna fix the AC.
Okay, yes.
I haven't even started fanning yet.
Trying to be proactive.
James Miller, Division Street. So today I walked from W.T. Brews to Sal's, and I attempted to cross the sidewalk in front of the public library. The first car almost ran me down while I was in the sidewalk and kept on going, and I threw my hands up as they didn't stop, and they gave me the finger, and off they went. Coming back, the first car definitely stopped. I'm in the middle of the crosswalk, and going the other way, flooring it right through the crosswalk, was another car. Thankfully, I'm very observant, so I didn't get mowed down. But I want to ask, where do we stand with things changing?
I'm going
We are
to direct
working
this
on it.
question to our chief, once he's back in position.
Well, we did have a meeting with Senator May's office, myself and board members, where we spoke specifically regarding that. As we've mentioned before, we are due for an enhanced crosswalk at that location, along with Syracuse Street and Marble Street and Oswego Street and Brown Street. So enhanced crosswalks have been approved by the state. My understanding is it's a 3-year contract that was awarded to the contractor to install those. Where the Village of Ballsville stands to get those installed in what year, I don't know. So I believe this year was year 1 of that contract, next year is year 2, in 25 and then 26. So it could be, those could go in at any point in time in 24, 25, 26. The senator, correct me if I'm wrong, was going to speak to the commissioner. I'm sure every municipality would like to be at the top of the list, not at the bottom of the list. So we're very hopeful that an enhanced crosswalk there will be beneficial to pedestrians and our community as a whole, because that obviously is a busy intersection there right by the library and McKinney's, and with the businesses across the street. You've got the Beeville Diner not far away, and there's a lot of visual pollution, so to speak. There's a lot of signs there, there's a lot of businesses, and there's a lot going on to distract. So the enhanced crosswalks will hopefully help alleviate some of that issue. Where we stand, it's up to the state at this point, and we really have no control over it.
What's an enhanced crosswalk?
So it is a larger sign on the side of the road with LED lights. So if someone such as yourself wants to cross, you'll push the button, and then that sign will light up with LEDs with an arrow pointing down that there's someone about to enter into that crosswalk. And then that signage with the lighting alerts the motorist to stop for somebody in that crosswalk. Again, we've basically got 3 full lanes of travel there, not just 2. So that presents another issue there. So when the state took a look at it, they agreed with what I had been arguing, is that we should receive an enhanced crosswalk there. So that's in the works. When the state's going to do it, we don't know, but certainly we're working diligently to try and get that addressed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're on it, but it's, you know, I mean, part of the problem, I think, is we need sort of a societal change in attitude,
Or just,
you know, toward pedestrians,
keep
and that's really hard to accomplish.
Well, and that stretch of road is, especially during business hours, you know, is difficult for us to sit somewhere to pull out from, because all the businesses are open.
Yeah.
You know, we'll run, we'll do details down at, you know, where Mavis is located with Paul Muffler there, but when that business is closed, because you certainly can't sit there during the daytime. We don't sit in open businesses with our marked patrol cars, or at least we do our best to avoid that.
It would be a deterrent. For people, wouldn't it be a deterrent for people coming in?
Well, it might be a deterrent for people to go to the business, and we're certainly not trying to do that. So, you know, but with all
Going
the...
to the police station is fun, so maybe.
Well, for certain people in this audience have way too much fun, it seems. You know, that presents its own challenges for us to try and set up a detail for us to safely stop vehicles and observe them and pull out into traffic for us. So it's not insurmountable, it just creates problems, and we need manpower to do that.
I was in Oswego this weekend, going down Route 148, which I believe is the state route, through the center of Oswego, if you're headed north, left side of the river. They have those big enhanced, but as part of that, they also have speed bumps. Now, I thought we couldn't put those on the state route, but they have them on the state route. And that would certainly make a difference.
Well, that's something we can look into.
Okay.
Obviously, the state, again, if it's a state route, the state controls that.
I understand.
That's not the city that...
We can't make that decision, but we
Right,
can
the
certainly
state
ask.
can, yes, without a doubt.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Mike. Anyone else left out there? If not, we'll move on to a special presentation by Vicki Frylu.
I thought you were going to call me Jim Dale.
That's in front of me, but I wasn't going to do that to you.
Thank you. So I'm Vicki Frylu, representing Baldwinsville Center for the Arts tonight. I'm here to tell you about Ghouls Night Out, which is a ladies' night as a precursor to the Ghost Walk. It'll be 3 weeks from tonight, Thursday, October 10th, at Baldwin Canal Square. Square, thank you. I always get that wrong. We expect about 150 women. There will be a cash wine bar under a closed tent. It'll be attended by ticket holders only, and there'll be a fenced-in area around the perimeter of the tent with no alcohol permitted outside of the fence. Baldwinsville Center for the Arts is requesting a waiver of the open container law for that event, and because it's a fundraiser for the Baldwinsville Center for the Arts, a waiver of all fees for Ghouls Night Out. And I will answer your questions if I can.
I would ask Jody if we have all the appropriate paperwork for.
He put it in for the, you know, for the 10th through the 13th or whatever it is,
Okay.
yeah.
Could you tell us what are the fees that are being requested to be waived?
Well, it would be the $30, you know, fee for the night, and then they've already paid the $100 deposit, so it'd be the $30 fee. And that's it.
In other not-for-profits, we've exercised a 50% waiver versus 100%, because indeed there will be expenses to the village that taxpayers have to underwrite. So if somebody's willing to make a motion to waive reduce the fee to, what, $15?
That's a substantial savings when someone's doing something on the island, but I think that the blanket statement is to keep it typical for all of them. So you'd be okay with 15?
I was just giving my talking points.
So maybe you can get someone to sponsor that.
I will
$15.
donate the $15 to the Baldwin Center for the Arts.
And I'm going to ask the chief if the ghouls have been a problem in the past.
Not that I can recall, no. I think we're good.
We only did it once, 2019. It was supposed to be an annual event, and then, you know, the world came to an end for a little while. So we're giving it another try, and it was a good time in 2019, hoping for a good time again.
I'll make a
Well-behaved
motion to waive all but $15 of the fee.
And
And the open container.
From what are the hours? Did you say what the hours were?
It starts at 6, I believe it's 6 to 9. It's a 3-hour event.
And is there a Warlock night coming up?
I'm aware of, so we can certainly take that into consideration.
Approach Mr. Dale and ask him.
That will go 6 to 10.
Yeah, Jim he realized he was double booked, he was having auditions for Ghost Walk actors tonight, so.
Okay.
You guys don't need any security.
So we have a second?
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have fun. Are you going?
I think I'm working.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we're working.
Bart.
We're working.
Whatever, thank you.
Trustees' comments. Donna?
I have nothing to add to the meeting tonight.
Okay. Nate?
I would like to add an item E to the agenda. A discussion of the security system project and the status of the bond. Just want to have a conversation about that and possible motions pending alternative. And outside of that, everybody have fun at Taste of Beeville. And I will be.
Moving on to trustee Seco.
Just the agenda, please.
Okay, I haven't finished that.
Want me to?
No. We'll move along.
Just the agenda for me. Thank you.
Mary, I don't want to put you in the spot, but I'm trying to convince my wife, who says, I'm going to be busy Saturday, to go with me to Taste of Beeville. Who are the food trucks? Do we know who they are?
Oh, jeez.
I know, I didn't know if it was possible.
I'm gonna try to go down the line. Angry Garlic Pizza Man, who are the two OGs of Taste of Beeville in its reincarnated state. Olive's Eatery, which has not been a participant in the past. We have Sal's, Jesse Cakes,
Skippy's Ice Cream.
Skippy's Ice Cream, WT Brews, Lock One Distilling. I am leaving some, San Miguel. Strigo Vineyards, yes. And then Anheuser-Busch will be there. No, not DeSales.
Okay.
They have declined. I think that's it. It's all on our website, tasteofbeeville.com.
That's good. I'll tell her to go.
Lots to eat.
Okay, perfect.
I don't know, it's $2.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's all I had.
Okay, I'm going to stick to the agenda. There's enough.
Clark, you didn't teach you anything?
Clarky called me this afternoon and talked to me for half an hour about a sat in the parking lot. But, no, there's enough stuff here that's covered by the agenda. So, moving on to pending business. No, I'm not. We're going to department. I was going to make this a shorter meeting.
That was a nice try, though.
Gee, I eliminated my comments. I was eliminating everybody else.
Jets and Patriots fan?
Yeah.
Moving on to our attorney.
I just want to comment. As you know, I've been meeting with the Zoning Board of Appeals, and we're looking at the sign ordinance and renovations. Those will be coming up at one of the next meetings. But one of the other things that they have mentioned in reviewing our unsafe building portion of our code, there was a concern that the unsafe building is basically a physical thing, and what happens is the code officer and the engineer go out and inspect a building to see if it's safe, whether there's electricity, whether there's, it's falling apart or whatever. They wanted to add to those definitions an empty building which has no restriction from access. In other words, a building that's empty, there's no one there, but whether it's through open windows, open doors, constantly, that would allow both animals or vagrants or whoever to enter and occupy those buildings, and that they feel would be a detriment to the village and could be an unsafe situation, particularly if people start living in there with no supervision, if there's no power or whatever's going on. So I'm going to be giving to the board their proposed language change to add that. Some municipalities do have that added to the definition of an unsafe building. That is one that's abandoned. It may be physically okay. It's not like one that's had a fire or something like that. However, there's no restriction of access, and so animals can go in. We actually had that on Wood Street. I forget which street it was. We had like 4 buildings that were ultimately torn down that had animals in it. But there also could be vagrants or other people that go in, the drug dealers, whatever's going on, go in and occupy these, and that could create a problem for the village. So I just want to let you know that I did do some language for them which they approved, and I haven't had a chance to put it into local law format, but I'll do that.
Do you know, like an attractive nuisance?
Yes. Yes, correct.
Do you know, years ago, they used to placard those types of buildings?
Yes.
For the fire department's benefit primarily. But I don't see new placards going. Do you know if that program exists anymore?
Mr. Mayor, I know in previous cities and towns, it's part of that problem was they told people that they were vacant. Oh. And they were more apt to break into them, and you don't see a lot of that anymore. That's why a lot of them kind of went away.
Okay. Thanks.
It was mainly for the fire department.
Right, so they wouldn't go into unsafe structures.
Right. People that break into houses.
I mean, the code officer can put something on the door. And again, we've had that a couple of times where they come to the board, prepare the report, send it to the board makes a determination that the building is unsafe, and then gives notice to the owner, you either repair it or it comes down, and in several cases I've been involved with, they've all come down. But other than that, I'll just stick with the agenda, but I just want to let you know that that's something they're thinking about.
Okay, thank you.
Or suggesting, to the board.
Moving to our clerk, Jody.
I just wanted to remind the village residents who have not paid their village taxes, you have about 6 more weeks. Village taxes will be accepted through the end of the day on October 31st. If you do not pay your village taxes by then, they will be turned over to the county. So just want to give a reminder that you got about a month to pay on those. And that'll be all.
To our treasurer, Mark Baker.
Just 2 things. One, I think there's an agenda item for budget modifications, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Second thing, because crosswalks are near and dear to my heart too, and I heard what Mr. Miller was saying, I agree with him. And I think, I don't want the village to think that this is solvable just with technology and things like that. There needs to be some kind of culture of awareness that gets created in the community. And I say that, I don't know how to do that, but it's just a culture of awareness that we stop for those things, because it still happens, and it's an awareness of the pedestrian, of how to cross the street and how to make sure that people are going to stop before he just waltz out there. And it's also a culture of the motor vehicle operators to know that I'm in an area where there's crosswalks, and I need to be aware of that. I don't know the best way to do that, but I think we can put all the technology we want in there, but I think it'll still happen if we don't raise the awareness. Other than that, just the agenda.
Moving on to our senior center coordinator.
I just wanted to say thank you to the Baldwinsville Community Band. We hosted them last evening, had about 100 people in the building. It was a wonderful show. Everybody seemed to enjoy themselves. We're coming upon the Walk for the Wood, which is September 26th. We ask everybody to come out and join us. It's at 4 p.m. They can register early, or you can register with us the day of the event. Also wanted to let you guys know that we had received a grant from the Baldwinsville Public Library. They did a grant proposal for us to get some upgrades in our library at Canton Woods, so that's exciting news. we should be making some renovations, I guess, shortly. And other than that, the next big fundraiser that we're going to be having, which we started taking orders for the wreaths for the winter season starting in October. Other than that, we'll stick with the agenda.
Very good. The immediate past mayor sent all of us an email soliciting funds, I guess, for he's going to walk.
Sponsor him for walking.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
He didn't do that when he was mayor, did he?
He did it sitting at the table, not by email.
Okay. Moving on to our DPW superintendent, Chuck.
Yep. A lot of excitement in the last few weeks here. One of our biggest problems this summer is paving, and you know, that ties up. We stopped doing brush. It ties up a couple of weeks before paving, during paving. One of the biggest problems we had this year was it was scheduled before school started, but because of the rain and what have you, the contractor gets pushed back, and it's amazing how many phone calls we get asking if we know school started that week. We know what, we had nothing, we had no say over it. Our first phone call when we found out it was going to be in the first was to the school district. And we talked to the bus garage, they're fantastic, you know, just told them we're going to be, our first day was going to be in Brown Street, you know, and I don't think we had, I think we had one issue with one bus, but it went very well. And the school district's really good to work with, but it wasn't that we scheduled for that week. That's just you're subject to the paper when they get here, so it got pushed back so we could get into that week. But we got all the streets done. Went very well. Other than that, it was good. We got a bunch of projects kind of wound down here. A lot of the grant money that we had from the county, and we had the 50 street lights that we changed the bulbs in themselves. We finally got that finished. There's a $10,000 payback on that. I'm not sure if we've written a check for that yet or not, but we have to pay the bills and then they reimburse us. The Main Street grant was finally closed out. That's the one down by Kinney's. So we finished that one. That got done. The McCary Park grant, that all came together finally, quickly before it ended up. And we got the schoolhouse painted. They got the black top in there. It looks great. A lot of people were happy with that. We've got to get some more of the chips in there yet, and the highway department's going to build a couple of the handicap picnic tables, pour some concrete down there, take care of that. And one of the other things that we struggled for quite a while was the insulation for this building, and we finally got that done last week, and I think you're going to see quite a difference in the heating and air conditioning for this building here. Right away, the air conditioner shut off the other day, and the air conditioner runs all the time, does never stop here. So hopefully that's going to be a big improvement. And we just struggled getting contractors. We just couldn't get them. And local people from town got it and got in and did very well. And not to continue the crosswalk thing, but Mark started to touch on it, and I agree with what everybody's saying. But people can't walk out in the street in front of the cars either. I know I almost hit a kid once. I was coming down Genesee Street, and I know the crosswalk's there, and an ambulance was coming behind me. I looked in my mirror, and when I looked back there, right in front of my truck, and looking right straight down, you know, people will actually look down to the ground and walk out in front of you. And I think part of the education is, you know, people need to stop for the crosswalk, but because there's a crosswalk there, that doesn't mean you can walk out in front of the car, because you can still get hit. And I think that's part of the awareness thing that we have to do. And I think the signs that Mike's been working on are going to really help us. But that's, I mean, you'll see that people just put their head down, walk right in front of the car. And, you know, and if they get hit, it's all going to be sad. But other than that, unless there's questions, I'm all set.
Chuck, can you just confirm, is brush pickup back on the every week schedule?
Yes.
Now?
And we started brush the minute they stopped blacktop, and we got right back out on brush, and we've been through twice since. Okay. And brush is a big deal. And we get most phone calls for brush, but they're back on brush now, and yeah. And now I guess we're looking at our Christmas tree. Possibly. So.
And I will just make one kind of odd comment about the crosswalk issue. I was going up Genesee Street the other day, and there was a young man at the corner waiting to go across the crosswalk. So I came to a complete stop, and I waited probably 20 seconds for him to look up from his phone and realize that it was safe for him to cross. So, to Chuck's point, I think both the motor vehicle driver and the pedestrians need to be reminded about safety in both directions. So.
Yes.
The difference is you didn't flip anybody off, right?
I didn't. I almost honked at him though, if he didn't look up any sooner.
I'm going to try and move this on to our police chief.
Chuck took 90% of the time for this table, so apparently I have 10% left. But two things, real quick. The chamber event, the coffee talk, you know, they host a meeting every month and a coffee talk event, and both are well attended. And the coffee talk's a little less formal, and it was great to have people. We had them here in this room, and we had Sergeant Gwen and Officer McCaleb outside one of our patrol cars. We set up a table and put a bunch of the equipment and things that are inside that patrol car out on that table and spread it all out in the back of the car, and set up a barricade that's in the car so people could have a feel for this is everything that our staff is carrying. And it kind of amazed me to take a look at it all and see everything that we're fitting back there, because it's quite a lot. But it was a well-attended event, and I'm very happy to be able to host it here.
Some of us put it on our calendar for Wednesday.
Well, and we did have it a day early, yeah. So it was.
It wasn't just me. People from Key Bank, not Key Bank, M&T Bank, were out here in the parking lot.
I know, but Marianne did send out many email reminders that it was on Tuesday to everyone. So that was at our request, because the lieutenant and I had some training to attend on Wednesday. And then one of the things that this board has authorized is the speed readers, speed devices. Those have been delivered up to the DPW, and I'll be working with the DPW committee and Chuck and his team and replacement here. I met about getting those installed and fitting that into their schedule and things. So we'll be working on doing that over the next coming weeks. Other than that, I will stick to the agenda item unless there are any questions. Thank you, Mayor.
Hearing none, we'll move on to pending business. Item A, motion approving a proposed local law to amend Section 242 specifying regulations for food trucks. Unless anybody has a motion, we were going to continue discussing that, which we have been. Most recent thing that I threw out was perhaps we just consider saying there are new food trucks allowed in Baldwinsville except by invitation. So if Chuck wants to have a food truck in his driveway, he invites it. He needs to be sure that it's legal, that it meets the necessary requirements. If somebody wants to do an event out on the island, it's their responsibility and their liability. So that was an idea we tossed around. I'm sure we'll toss many others around before we've got time. There's no rush. Unless somebody knows there's a big food truck event in January or something that we should be aware of.
I'm aware of.
Okay.
So do we need a motion to kick this can down the road?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, I move that we kick this can down the road.
Okay.
I'll second.
You get that wording?
Kick the can down the road, I guess.
Okay, item B, a motion to ratify the vote of the memorandum agreement between the Village of Baldwinsville and the Baldwinsville Police Benevolent Association, Inc. I believe all of you received a copy. Mike went over it last meeting. Comments, questions, concerns? A motion and a second so we can discuss?
I will make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
And Ruth seconds. Now I'll ask if there's any.
No.
Okay.
Is that what you intended it to say?
Yes.
Very good.
There was a lot that went into that, yes. Trust me.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? As a side note to that, Jody and I will be going to Ithaca the day that she reminds me.
Thursday. Next Thursday.
Next Thursday, to be officially brought into the Tompkins County Consortium, which is what triggered this whole thing we just approved.
You don't want to ride your bike there?
I don't want to ride my bike back.
It's all downhill there.
Jody could throw it in the back of the car on the way home.
Okay. On to new business. Item A, motion authorizing the mayor to sign the SRO-SPO agreement with the Ballsville Central School District for the 24-25 school year.
Motion.
Second.
Chief, you wanted to say anything on this, or?
Just that Attorney Baldwin and I had a number of discussions with the school district. Really appreciate his help, and the district was great to work with in solving some of the issues that we've dealt with as far as our two retired people. But the contract for our SROs basically is unchanged. Obviously, the financial issues and dates and stuff. But Bob was a big help on this, and we're still ironing out a couple things. But unless Bob has anything further, strongly recommend that the board approve this, please.
Yeah, there's a couple things that I'm looking into on the side, but I would recommend approval.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Item B, a motion to appoint Taryn Paschow as DPW Superintendent effective October 21st, 2024, at a salary of $95,000 a year.
Moved.
Second.
Discussion? Part of the discussion
Hi, Taryn.
is if Taryn would stand up. I'd like to introduce him to everybody in the room. I know you already met Danny.
Yep.
Maria.
Oh, and Maria, yeah, she's behind him. But you met Greg?
Yeah.
He's our, okay. Mark's the treasurer. These are the board members.
Clerk, lawyer.
He's already met Jody. That's HR.
This guy that you'll sit with at the table.
I met him the other day. We met the other day.
He'll get you in trouble with side talk during the meeting.
Yes, you will.
Chit chat.
How is I'm being blamed for the side talk?
I don't know who's got.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Welcome aboard. Look forward to seeing you. If you were a police officer, there'd be cake.
He just said, we don't do cake.
Chuck says that's a police thing.
Yeah. So, very good. You can hang out, you can beat feet home and see those kids, tuck them in.
Oh, well, hang out, let's see what it's all about, right?
Okay. Oh, where'd my screen go? Item C, discussion on zoning change at 48 Salina Street. As we mentioned in the work session, this is a proposed, the VFW has been sold and purchased by an outside firm who is planning on having a recreational facility there, a private recreational facility. They currently operate in Phoenix, and they've outgrown that facility. However, when land changes hands, that area is zoned R1. So them coming in there requires a zoning change. So Bob has prepared a local law, and if the board desires to move forward, we could have a motion and approve a public hearing for October 17th at 7:30 p.m. to hear, those are the right dates I'm throwing out? To hear public input on whether we will have a zone change.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the public hearing.
Second.
Okay. Now, any discussion, questions?
I have a question.
Okay, let us fit in.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I would recommend that the matter be referred at this time to the planning board.
Officially?
For their opinion.
Okay. It has been unofficial. I referred it. Do you need a motion doing that?
No, that's fine.
Okay. It's been given to the planning board for them to look at their next meeting to see if they have any opinions, anything they see on it. They're red flags. And then they'll get that back to us. Sally, what's up?
I was wondering what kind of recreation they do.
It's a bocce ball.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I mean, recreation could be.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to necessarily let the cat out of the bag until they have their ribbon cutting or whatever.
Right.
But that's what it is, yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Sally.
Not a disco.
No, not a disco.
Did you want a disco in the village?
No.
Okay.
Disco bocce.
We can look for one. Ooh, good one.
Okay.
Glow in the dark bocce.
I'll talk to the owner and see what we can do.
Item D, motion to approve budget modifications as proposed in the document 2024-09-19, budget modification for 2024-2025 budget.
Motion.
Second.
The chortling is because PDF is not there. Okay. Any discussion? No. Questions for the treasurer? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now, item E is a discussion regarding the security system out at DPW.
Well, it's been since 2023. I forget exactly what time in 2023 this was started, but the project has still yet to be completed, and we want to make sure that they know that the bond will be taken a look at if it's not done very, very, very quickly. And just trying to figure out exactly what we can do legally to be able to make this happen.
If you were to put a percentage on how much is complete versus how much is left to be done?
It's probably, I would say, a little better than 50%, but.
The problem is that whatever's done doesn't function.
Correct.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
But that's going to be my next question. Have they got all of their material procured? Or is it a material issue? Or is it a manpower issue?
They claim they have 90% of their material. They're having problems with the door locks. And it's just gone on way too long. There's been promise after promise after promise, and they just don't show up. And it's been a very, very long time. So I've been talking to Greg and the attorney, and there's a bond in place, and we can't get them to move. And he called me today begging again to give him till Monday, and I've had probably 10 of those phone calls. I mean, it's just gone on so long, and they're just not showing up. So I was kind of hoping that they're in
every excuse short of the dog.
Oh, we got some good ones too. Oh, yeah.
So have they been paid for the work that they've done?
They've been paid for some, but not for all of them. So
if you say that 50%, you think they've been paid 50%? Are we top heavy or are we under?
So the contract was, let me just kind of give you a whole timeline now. The contract was bid about a year and 4 months ago. Finally got everything worked out in September of last year. We extended a completion deadline to December 31st of 2023. Obviously that's gone. Currently they have about 50% of equipment in. I'm going to say there's probably more than that on site. About 50% installed, the contract, and it's not functioning. It's not. There's loose ends everywhere. They have promised us about every week that they're going to show up, and like this morning I called up Chuck to find out they were showing up, and just before I called up to give them an excuse why they weren't coming today. And they've done this just about every other week for the last, since May probably.
Very long time.
Yeah, and maybe it came with the wrong lock sets, and that's when they had to go back, they had to go get these new lock sets, and it's not like they're some, super hard to find lock set. I don't know what's going on, to be honest with you. So at this point, everybody's kind of reaching a frustration point where we don't have a security system in place that's fully functioning, we don't have a fire alarm system that's fully functioning. We don't have a camera system that's fully functioning, and we don't have any lock sets that are fully functioning.
Functioning at all.
Anything partially functional?
So we
No.
So we crossed the old system.
The camera system is essentially, it's functioning, but you can't monitor everything, you can't get everything kind of, if you wanted to see what was going on in one plant or another, it's just about impossible. Monitors like in the wrong place, the monitors aren't installed. There's just a lot of loose ends, and they've been told, look, just come back and at least finish up what you started. And they're like, no, we're gonna do it all at once. Well, okay, that was, now we're like 5 months into this, not coming back and wrapping up the stuff that they already had the equipment for. So it's getting a little frustrating.
Have we gotten to the point where contractually we can cash the bond?
Yeah.
I believe we have.
So, I mean, as far as written notice, as far as the steps you would need to take to say, okay.
Yeah, now, is it how complicated a process it is? And I was telling the board, I think I've done this twice in my 35 years. The first time was in like '89. The second time was when another contractor basically went bankrupt on the thing, and the bonding company brought another contractor in to finish it, and that was the end of it. To me, it's such a minor amount and a minor contract that I can't imagine why it just can't get done.
Well, it's probably why it's not being done. They're probably trying to get the fish down the street.
If somebody was really deep into for 6, 7 figures, I understand. I mean, but this is a $22,000 remaining in the budget. It's you don't.
And the bond covers the whole contract amount, or?
The bond would typically cover everything it would take to finish up the contract. The bonding company would bring in a different contractor, typically, and then wrap the thing up, and then make us basically whole.
Those of you who haven't been on the DPW crew over the last year plus, when this bid came in, Greg advised us that the guy had really gone low, eager to get it. Apparently he's paying for that now.
And we always give contractors that option. It's like, are you sure? It's like double check, make sure you're okay with taking the contract. Even if it's not something that came in below our estimate, we always do that because you don't want to get in this situation. This is not ideal for anybody.
I would say give them until Monday and midweek if you pull the plug.
Pretty much that's what we're looking for. And when I talked to him this morning, I mean, he begged and begged for that. And I just said, I'm not sure. We're going to a board meeting. There's just no end to the promises.
So
part of the problems are that he's got another job.
Find somebody to finish it.
Well, he's got guys on federal jobs.
Who did we shot?
No, we shouldn't. If they said something like that, then the instructions would be just bring somebody in to finish it, and we'll send us the bill.
And this, I think, would be the first step to getting it done.
Right, I think the board needs to make a determination that, in fact, they have not performed the contract as they had promised to do.
No, it's off the shelf stuff.
So we need a motion that authorizes you or the village to move forward on the bond issue by next Wednesday or whatever.
Yeah, well, if they don't appear on Monday,
yeah.
that we're out, the superintendent of public works and myself are authorized to take whatever steps are necessary to work with possibly revoke the bond or determine that whatever needs to be done to finish the project.
Make a motion.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I can answer later.
Sounds like it's time for the hammer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We're not kicking this one down the road.
Thank you.
No, it's been rolling down the road by itself.
So can I just ask a question? If we do use the bond and that we bring somebody in to finish the job and we pay them with the bond proceeds, this was an ARPA project, that means that there's going to be ARPA funds all of a sudden that we kind of recoup because we won't have spent what we committed. And so I think it's important for us to just stay with this, like, because the end of this year, calendar year, is when we have to be committed by. And, commitment is more than just saying we're gonna do it. It's like purchase order, contract, all that kind of stuff.
Greg, knowing that Burn National came in low,
Yeah.
what's your confidence that we can find another company for what's
Well,
on that
so,
bond to do the work?
and Bob may have more experience than I do. We will not get money back, okay? Basically, the bonding company will make us whole as far as completing the project. We will still have to pay the rest of the money for contract unless we want to collect liquidated damages. And let's say it goes over, the bonding company covers that. So
we would expend the ARPA fund.
And then some, or they would, not even us. We would, I think we would expend that contract of 44,000, whatever. I don't see it coming in below that, to be frank with you. But let's say that the whole thing to finish up costs an extra $20,000. That's on the bonding company. It's not on us, the village.
Right. Okay. And we also have to look at the damages if we do that.
That's the other.
I think that's why it's important to move ahead, particularly because of the ARPA funds, because if we haven't expended those by the end of the year, then...
Yeah, well, we have to be committed by the end of the year, so, and spent by the end of '26.
Okay.
So as long as we know, so we have time to find another project, and to decide and put those funds towards something.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting the money back. I think, so let's say they finish it, we still, unless we do a little bit of damage and then collect damage.
I think we had committed something like 60,000 for that though.
It's 60. It is 60.
Yeah. So, it sounds like there's gonna be money left over, or money that we
I don't know if engineering's in there and other stuff.
I think a lot of the engineering's been paid now.
But that should come out at 60.
Yeah, but I'm sure it has.
Oh, good. Just as a sort of committee.
Okay.
You gonna vote? Or did we probably
Did we vote?
Did we vote? We voted.
Yes.
Oh, they did. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Then can I have a motion to pay bills?
Mike said we weren't taking it down the road.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a motion to adjourn the meeting at whatever time Jody says.
8:27.
Motion.
Second.
You guys can go.